My friends, welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Mafia Sports Reports. As always, I'm Dr. Love, and of course, no introduction needed, but this is Sauce Bronson, baby.
Yo, I'm the light-skinned man with the ashy hands, and I'm just only here because Doc got the plan. Let's go.
And of course, we start off our stream with Papa Mafia. Yeah. Thank you very much. As always, if you we will back. So, but let's see. We do have one more here. We from Christopher Roseboro. We got what up, guys? Go Bills. What up to you, man? Thanks for catching us here. And So
shout out to Bills Mafia. You guys got an important as Lions fans as well. We all have an important date coming up this Thursday. Either we're going to be happy or we're going to throw a remote or object or something at the wall. We'll see how that draft goes.
Hey, Sauce, do you bet on that happening?
With the Lions, I'm always betting on it.
Oh gosh! Well, James.
I love my football team. I do have faith in Brad Holmes, but there's still that Lions. That's still got the SOL mindset in me that something could really bad happen. SOL means the same old Lion. So, but that's that's football talk. We're here to talk about some pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's what we like to do. So obviously we're kind of moving forward this, with the wrestling world, getting ready for shows upcoming next Saturday, the upcoming Backlash pay-per-view. And then, of course, other small shows and other shows going forward. However, this week, as in yesterday on Monday Night Raw, there was something that every time this happens in wrestling is always it's supposed to be big news, especially if it's your main title. And it's been rumored for months to happen, and it finally happened. Triple H, which I think is great to all people, Triple H was the one that announced this, and we'll kind of go on into that in a minute. A new heavyweight championship was announced on Monday Night Raw yesterday. So it was, I didn't get to see it live, but I basically saw it right after it happened. And let me tell you, it was, of course, the wrestling community, the belt community. I'm part of both of them because I like my belts. I like to make them. I like to buy them. Everyone was talking, and everyone had an opinion on it because, of course, we do. And we're here also to kind of put our 2 cents in, but also to kind of talk about belts for the past and whatnot. Now, what's kind of cool about this is, and I know what they probably they announced this belt, this championship yesterday, is because this week is the 60th anniversary of the WWF Championship. So WWF, WWE, something like that. So I think it was fitting that happened. I really do. So, but what we'll do, we're not going to keep you holding here. Sauce, Pop it up there. So let's
Hey,
take.
real quick.
Oh yes. What's
Um,
up?
since it's the 60th anniversary, does that mean that the WWE title could officially file for Social Security?
Yeah, I would say so. So what we have here is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the new championship.
Look at that bad boy.
Now, I'll tell you right now, obviously, as any old school fan, and I'll pull this up on the chat from Papa Mafia, I still prefer the original Big Gold, WCW for Life, and of course, also from Big Papa Mafia, Big Gold 2.0. Yes, that's absolutely where they got the inspiration for this. As you can tell, I mean, you can just look at the beautiful kind of like the gold texture. Even if you see on both sides, you see the lions on it. And before we go into that more, we also have, looks like Avery's here. Yeah, what's up, my friends? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I like. And we have another one here from Mr. Chad Smith. Yeah, good seeing you. Good seeing you, my friend. But thank you for zooming in.
Doc, what I'm doing is, just zooming in a little bit. Just tell me where you want me to go. This is your world. I'll just work in it.
No, you're good. So look at the top of the belt. You have the little eagle there, little wings for the eagle. So you're kind of bringing that into it. Then the rest of the beautiful kind of like the I say it's not even scrolling. You're getting that kind of textured design from old Bob Backlund style belts, the big kind of like chunky design. And of course, you got the beautiful lions on both sides of it. Now here's something I'm going to pull out when we're going to talk about other belts. If you look at the ring around where the WWE's at, that ring is extremely similar to the spinner belt and how the spinner belt's got that kind of gold around it and got at the ring. And of course, the logo. I know most people are going to grunt and groan about the logo. Now, this belt right here picture is actually what they have on their website for the replica belt for sale. So take that as you will. How it's all black behind the logo. Will it be completely black like that? I don't know. Will it be gold behind it? I don't know. The picture we've seen it looks. I don't know. Until we get better views of it, official pictures of the belt, they have to wait and see. But looks like we do have another chat here from Christopher. Yeah, thank you, of course.
Yeah.
And then we do have we got CBM on here. It looks like the Ric Flair Vegas Big Gold from '91 with the ugly WW emblazoned across the front. Yes, that was very, yeah, it's a very ugly belt in my opinion. I'm not a fan of it. That's why I like, any other big gold belt here. I even made this big gold right here. This boy's on a cardboard. I can even have that texture in it. I made this out of cardboard, and I still love this belt. So, but going back to this belt here, I mean, there's not that many jewels on it. They had to obviously kind of integrate for the side plates because you're not going to not do side plates now. Come on, you already spent so much money with side plates for everybody. The side plates do look nice because they're not just rectangle. They fit. I'm always a fan of belts that kind of fit together, puzzle piece wise, and that's how they do. You've got how the bottom kind of curve there, the sides curve. What's interesting is if you can get a kind of look at the strap. This has got some nice tooling here. We can't really see it until we get a better picture of the full length of the strap. But there's some detail, and another picture of the live belt shows a little bit on the outside of like the side plate, and it looks
right here.
Yeah, and it's very detailed, but it's again because it was just announced.
Oh, actually, hold on. You can see like if you look between these two plates, you can definitely see a little detail right there.
Oh yeah. So I think they're putting a lot of time and effort into this to make it look very nice, very nostalgic, very classic, but also, look, yeah, they're WWE. They're going to have their logo there. Could it have been smaller? Yeah, of course it could have been. I don't hate it though. I think it's a nice looking belt. They literally took the big golds, the kind of curved design. They squished it slightly and elongated it. I have no issue with that. I think, people like to, come up, well, I'll come up with something better. It's like, well, yeah, of course, if whatever your personal preference is, like me and Sauce. After this, we're going to start talking about the other belts, and we both have a different belt for WWF, WWE. That's our favorite. And we'll go into that in just a little bit. Now, as for this belt, when Triple H announced it, which I thought was the best, because look, back in, back in 2003, right? Yeah, 2003 when Bischoff brought out the big gold because Lesnar stayed on SmackDown with the undisputed title. So Bischoff comes out on Raw and announces that Triple H will be the new World Heavyweight Champion. So seeing Triple H announce this belt yesterday was just kind of funny to me. I mean, come on. You can't really beat that. But we do have a couple chats here while you get that. Yep, see what I mean about how the black, it's hard because of the lighting. You can't tell if it's that pure black on there with the logo. It does look like it is, but so we'll have to kind of wait and see. The innards of the logo, though, look like it's the globe, as opposed to the replica you have a picture of where it's all. And if that's true, the real belt is going to be better looking for that, for a good reason. You have a chat here from Avery. It looks like Roman Reigns going to win that one too. If they didn't come up with the stipulation that we're going to go into, I'd be hard pressed to say, yeah. Oh gosh. And then we also have another chat from Christopher. It looks like the original heavyweight title that Ric Flair held mixed with the WWE title. Absolutely. And I'm glad that they did that. Most people complain, oh yeah, we can already tell, Sauce. Look at the black, like what you just saw compared to this. The part of the W is not going to be fully black like that. It's going to be, so I'm happy to see that. But I'm happy that, most people hate the logo belts. Like, you got the logo belts here. This, again, my cardboard variations I've made because I don't want to spend money on the actual belt. Look, I kind of hold this up. Can you tell this is cardboard? Just go glancing at it?
Of course not.
Then I can just do this. Like, oh, I don't like this belt. Yeah, I can do that if I want to. I don't care. But being serious, most people hate those belts because obviously you have the big, gigantic logo on it, and it's like there's no uniqueness to it. There's no originality to it. And now with this belt, they have, again, harkens back to the old style World Heavyweight title. And I know most people are thinking, why didn't they just use the big gold? You know why? Because they already did. They already brought it back. Like, do something different now. You're obviously using the side plates. You don't want to not integrate the side plates. And I think they did a great job doing that with this. That's instead of having nameplates, use the side plates. Kind of turned out working out kind of cool. I'm all for it. I'll tell you that for sure. At first, I was like, I didn't really like side plates. I was like, no, I don't like that. But then you'd see like the video of them changing the side plate for the new champion. Sometimes they do it, and it was always kind of cool. But if you had to give this a preliminary rating, again, because it's 1 day old, Sauce, what would you give this as a rating?
Oh, this is man meats. This is man meats worthy right here. I'll stand on that. Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, this belt looks awesome. I am here for it. And of course, everybody's like, oh, this looks stupid. I'm like, listen, y'all need to put that Flint water down. And overall, like, I'm looking at it. The first thing I thought about was, WCW big gold belt. And even with the WWE logo, as big as it is, people gotta understand WWE is a company. They're worldwide company. They're all about branding. So once again, when teams, when football teams and other teams and people, when they win championships, they're going to be able to alternate between, which belt they want to give out. And of course, when they give these belts out, to these other sports champions, the first thing you want to see is that WWE logo on there. Because once again, it's all about brand.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love how no one complains about the AEW's title with its big ass AEW logo on the front. That's very big. in front of its logo. So no one likes to complain about that. But if it's the WWE logo, it's we got to hate on it. It's got to be the worst thing possible. And I see it, like, back in the day, which we're going to go into, the Big Eagle, the Winged Eagle, any of those belts from that era, the Big Gold from WCW. That didn't even have WCW logo for obvious reasons. It wasn't even made for that purpose. The Big Gold, the WCW title Ron Simmons had at that point. Logos are small. They kept them small at the top, and they had everything else kind of fill it out. Whether it was globes, eagles, anything kind of else on those belts. But you're right. I'm sorry. It's a different era now. UFC, no one complains about UFC when belts, but then UFC right on the front because they know we are literally UFC. We need to make sure we're the name brand, like you said, and I have no issue with it. And especially because, again, we are showing a picture of this one. Do you have that other one readily? The other one you just pulled up?
Oh, you talking about the one we just showed a minute ago?
Yeah. I didn't know if you still have it.
Give me about 10 seconds. I'll take
no issue. So basically, this is what they put up on their website immediately after Raw for a pre-order for their replica belt. So just based off of it, compared to the pictures we've seen live, it is slightly different with how the logo is, and I'm happy about that. And pre-order for delivery of October. I'll tell you right now, I make my belts. I'll have that made by August. That belt will be going with me to SummerSlam. So, but yeah, so this right here is basically what we saw on Raw, and you can clearly tell behind you can see the globe through the WWE logo, as opposed to how it was blacked out. So that makes me happy knowing that the belt itself is going to have that really crisp design on it. Some people I've seen kind of wanted to have color on it, have like a red swoosh. I'm like, why? Why? The other belts had that on. This one doesn't have to. You know what I mean? Someone I said, well, it should have red jewels. The Big Gold had red jewels. I'm like, again, this is not the Big Gold. It's not the Big Gold. It's a different belt. So it's already taken a lot of its inspiration from the Big Gold. So in my opinion, it doesn't need anymore. I think it's a very well-made belt. The strap itself looks great, and we haven't even seen the whole thing yet. So
nope.
It was funny though because Seth Rollins cut a great promo, and I thought for sure he walked right up to the belt. I was like, I thought he was gonna grab that belt. I thought he was gonna grab it or like hit it or something. Mm-hmm. And they probably said, "Don't touch the belt. Don't touch the belt." And he did. But so now going into it, what he kind of explained how the belt's going to be, won or whatever. So Triple H basically announced that once the draft happens, Roman Reigns, whatever show he goes on, he will be taking his undisputed Universal title with him. To me, this is exactly the same thing that happened with Lesnar. This is basically the same thing when Lesnar went to SmackDown, and then you had your world champion on Raw. Now, whoever show it's going to go, this belt will be then the belt for the other show. It will be then decided at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia on May 27th. Now, a lot of people have already started kind of wondering, well, what does that mean about the two belts that Roman Reigns has, the undisputed, the Universal and WWE title? To me, it's just whether they're just going to merge the belts into one belt, WWE Universal Championship, because they're not going to just say Universal by, because he had the Universal for the longest. He's going to at Night of Champions, he's going to hit 1,000 days. So there you go. You know what I'm saying? He's going to hit 1,000 days. Oh gosh, Sauce, come on, no.
Listen, it's going to happen. Just watch.
Oh my God. You know what? Oh my gosh. Come on. You know what? Maybe you hear the music go off. Oh gosh, please. Oh gosh. Come on, so get that off. Get it off the screen. Come on, get it off the screen. Oh my gosh, I'm about to cry. But So they're kind of wondering what Roman Reigns is going to do. Is the belts going to just merge into one belt, the WWE Universal Championship? Because now you'll have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It's all about the wording because, when they had the brand split, it was like the World Heavyweight Championship and then the WWE Championship because they knock off the heavyweight, so then the heavyweight title would have it. So it's probably going to just be something like that. Now, if he gets a new belt, Roman Reigns, just one singular title, it's good. It's not going to be like different. It's going to be like the same belt. It's going to, in my opinion, hell, it'll probably. I could even see it be if he gets drafted to SmackDown. It'll be like the blue belt with the black innards here, and then it'll say WWE Champion. It won't say Universal anymore, but it'll keep the blue or red of what show he has, part of it. I think so. It's a combination of both of the belts as one title.
Because it reminds me of this one. Oops, hold on. It kind of reminds me they might do something like bring something like this back.
Oh, I'd be a fan of that. See, like I know a lot of people didn't like this either because of how the big logo, but I love the big chunky champion on it. I was a big fan of that. Yeah. That champion was really cool when I seen this. And, it's still a little jarring seeing the scratch logo, It's a little.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, I would love to see that. That's actually a good point. If you haven't bring back the chunky champion banner, put it on there. Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. I'd buy that for $1.
Like, I agree. Like, my thing is, so they're probably going to redesign. They're going to basically redesign a new WWE belt. It'll be for Roman. And as long as that belt is different from the big gold, I guess you want to call it Big Gold 3.0, which is a lot of people might start calling it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at it. The only thing that sucks is so with this whole belt thing, I feel like they brought it out way too early.
Yeah. I agree, but I think it's only because of it this week being the 60th anniversary. I think that's the only reason why they did it because, again, like you said, it's not even going to be announced or fought for until the 27th of May. So why not just wait until the Monday after Backlash? So what, next 2 Mondays from now, whatever.
Yeah.
Why not do it then? I think they were just piggybacking off of that. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, but not sure, man. We got one more chat here. Looks like from Enya. We got what's up?
Yo. Shout out to him. Once again, he's got a company called Imaginary Vision Studios. Check out the social medias. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Absolutely. And pop those in there because hey, we're very creative people. Me and Sauce. So.
Oh yeah. By the way, if y'all want to, plug in your as far as your socials, as far as the business stuff, what you got going on, feel free to plug it in the chat. We'll pop it up. Everybody's here to help everybody. So
absolutely. So, but when it comes to win the championship now, so obviously, for all intents and purposes, let's just say Roman Reigns is on SmackDown. We'll say he just drafted the SmackDown. Let's make it easy. So now Raw will have their champion. And obviously the draft, people can move wherever. In your opinion, for the new championship, the new WWE World Heavyweight Championship, who's your top 4 guys you are going to go for that belt?
For the new belt?
The new belt, yeah. And again, I guess it doesn't matter shows now because people can move shows. So, but it could be any 4 people from the company.
So for the 4, if I had to pick 4 people for the new World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because it would suck for him to win this belt, and then we don't see the belt for like 2 months.
That was always the worst, right?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's an attraction, but it's like if you don't see the belt on your program every week, what's the point? But be as it may, I would say Seth Rollins. Unfortunately, Brock Lesnar, Walter, Gunther, my bad, Gunther. And I got if I had to bring up a fourth, you know what? I'm gonna go outside the box a little bit, but I would say Balor. Just to throw, just for some curveball.
Okay. Those are good. Those are, I mean, you got some heavy hitters right there. It's funny you mentioned Lesnar because obviously, you know, regardless of whatever his intentions are about staying with the company or whatever, you know they're going to have some endeavors having some say in that. You know, like, hey, got this belt, we got him. It's like, but no, we don't want him. You know.
Yep.
So me, I've got to say, I'm gonna put Kevin Owens up there. I think Kevin Owens, would be a great champion.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right about Walter. That's a big one right there. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that right off the bat. It depends on. Gosh, it really depends on who's actually being brought up or whatever now because Seth Rollins makes a lot of sense. Obviously, they're already pushing it right now. You know, so Seth Rollins got to be put up into that echelon. What I would love to see, and I don't think he's ready to come back, but man, I would love it. What if AJ Styles came back and put himself in the ring for it? You know, man. Right. So I don't think he's ready to come back yet, but I think eventually I could see him doing that. You know, because that's the big thing is they have to make sure you got heavy hitters there to win that belt first. And now it's in Saudi Arabia. They're going to have whatever match, whether it's a singles match or a triple threat, fatal four-way match. It really could be anything because, remember when Universal title happened, Balor had to relinquish it the next day because, he got injured. He was injured.
Yeah.
So they did a fatal four-way match for it. And then, of course, that's when Triple H turned on Seth. And I'm excited. I was there. I was so excited that night. Oh man, Kevin Owens won. So, but they could do something like that. I think that works probably the best. Maybe do a fatal four-way because you could have more people in it for your Saudi Arabian show. So,
right.
But it will be interesting to see. It will be very interesting to see because now we're getting. Especially with what happens with Reigns there. Man, there's a lot of moving parts, man. There's a lot of moving parts. But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see that because obviously your U.S. champion and your Intercontinental champion are not going to be on the same show. Obviously, they're going to do it. They're going to kind of split it up like they did before. Now, here lies the problem. Like your Universal Tag Team Champions or Undisputed Tag Team Champions. So they should, by all theory, travel shows. They haven't really announced that yet. The women's tag team should travel shows because there's only one of them. So, all that they're going to iron that stuff out once they do the draft. So, but I'm all for it. And that's all I got to say about that. Looks like we do have another chat here. We got, Avery again. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Almost and if you guys, for the folks who's watching, if you have a favorite belt that you want to give a shout out to, feel free to shout out to in the comments.
Absolutely. I might have some variation of it here, or I do somewhere else. So, but yeah. So, what I figure we could do now is just kind of talk about just in general the WWF belts throughout the years. But what I will start off with is just as I mentioned earlier, each of our favorite variations of the WWF/WWE titles. And I'm gonna let Sauce go first on this because I already know Sauce's belt. I already know.
Oh, yeah, y'all already know what's up. Hold on, give me just a moment. I'm locking it right in. Hold on.
Yeah. So he's this belt's
Anybody who knows me,
yeah.
any and everyone who knows me, they know what's up.
Oh yeah. It's a great belt, great update to a classic, and held by some of the greats. Some of the greats have held this belt, and that would be the WWF Big Eagle Championship. Now,
Oh yeah.
there's been variations of the Big Eagle, basically, throughout the years. You know, you obviously had your wing, you had your winged eagle, and then this was updated to the block letter blue strapped Big Eagle that was sent to it was Kane, and then Kane lost it the same night to Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that belt was very short lived. Mainly that specific one. That specific one was short lived because Austin. Well, the whole story was if you look at the side of the belt, you have all these little spikes, like right on the side. I say spikes, but they're just like little. Well, the story was he got hit with the head with the belt and he got busted open and didn't like it. So he had his own belt commissioned, and that's where the Smoking Skull belt came from. Not by WWF, McMahon. Nope, it was Austin himself. McMahon was furious. Then guess what? The fans loved it. Eventually, he went back to what we see now as the scratch logo WWF Big Eagle belt, which, again, I have a replica of this belt, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I have it signed by, let's see, Chris Jericho. I got it signed by Kurt Angle and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I thought I had more people. I only had three. But Sauce, tell me some memories why you love that belt so much, man.
So here's the thing about this belt. This belt needs no introduction from my standpoint. But as far as that, I call it the Attitude Era belt. It was an upgrade for the Winged Eagle. And me personally, it's like people always talk about the Winged Eagle, and I'm like, Attitude belt is 10 times better. But some of my favorite memories was, of course, with the GOAT, Kurt Angle. Hold on, bear with me just a minute, guys. Let's see. Oh, what are we doing? Sorry, having a technical difficulties. Let's see. Okay, whatever. But no, with that particular belt, I mean, also, when I think about that belt, I think about Stone Cold. Because when they unveiled it, he was the champion at the time when they unveiled it. And that belt, is special too because it was the championship for a lot of people consider the greatest era in WWE, WWE, WWF era, the Attitude. So, you had now during that time, you had two guys at the top that would have that belt, Rock, Stone Cold. And then once again, I gotta go back to the GOAT, Kurt Angle. And yeah, Kane, it was cool too because Kane, like you said, he only had it for like a day or so. But it was like when people won that belt, it seemed like when they won that particular belt, it just drove their stock from from good wrestler to like instant Hall of Fame. Because think about it, like when Mick Foley won the belt, he won it at SummerSlam in the triple threat. I guess for some reason, Austin at the time, they just didn't want Austin to drop the title to Triple H just flat out, so they had Mick Foley with it and whatnot. And then Triple H won. Triple H won it the next night on Raw, and then it upped his status level, like with the McMahon Helmsley era.
For sure, Triple H. Oh my God,
yeah. And so when I think about that belt, I think about Austin, I think about Rock, and I think about Stone Cold.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, you had other people that won it, but like the Big Show, forgettable. Even Undertaker's reign at that time with it was a little forgettable, And it's hard to say that about the Undertaker, obviously.
Yeah.
But for when he had that belt, it didn't impact as much as when he was when he won the Winged Eagle, or even when he was undisputed champion later, and that was even more of a transitional thing. So, but you're right. That belt is it's such a good belt. It's a big chunky belt. It looks good on, and that's another thing I kind of want to go over too. Like who, and we're basically doing it anyways. Is who just looked the best with the belt, and you've already just named them. I mean, like The Rock looked on it. He looked great. He would hold the belt. Austin when he would flip the belt looked great. Triple H though, he looked pretty good with that belt. I will say, and you know, and you know what? I will say this is Jericho when he had both belts. It really, I love the look. I love the look when he had both belts as the first undisputed champion. So, no, it was a great belt, and I knew they were gonna have to, make the undisputed belt, but it was sad. It was a little sad seeing it. I was like, oh man, I love this belt. But that's a great choice, man. That is a great choice for the belt. Oh, so nice.
But real quick,
I got it right here.
Like I said as far as in the chat, I told folks that as far as give a shout out to their favorite belts. So me being the man of the people, the good old Sprinter belt, and Doc, what's crazy about that belt that Doc has in his hand is all cardboard. Like,
yep.
How does that even happen?
Yep, I made this all out of cardboard because I didn't want to pay for the spinner belt. So, yep, literally all cardboard. I love showing that off to people. And no, it's the Miz belt. Here we go. We're just going to have it's the Miz. But I'm not going to lie. I think I did a pretty good job based off of that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's like you got that directly off of Shop Zone.
And that's the only time I like the spinner. But, oh, man, it's fun. But we'll go into the spinner in just a little bit, like some of our thoughts on it. But I wanted to kind of bring up my favorite belt.
Okay.
And of course, since I already have the replica here, a couple of them, it has to be the WWE Undisputed Championship. Yes, and it's funny because I actually have two replicas of it. The original replica, this guy right here, when they made it. Of course, there you go. When they announced this and Ric Flair presented the new belt, it was gorgeous. But what everyone complained about is that it was too small. Oh, it's small. It's small. I'm like, old school wrestling belts were small. The intricacies of the belt. Again, this is a replica we're dealing with, but I love this belt. I loved everything about it. I love the side plates. I think they were really cool. It has a nameplate, a nice nameplate, It was such a good belt. And please bring up some pictures here. Now, there were variations of this.
So the only reason why I'm bringing this up, because I know you talk about how, as far as people, who look best with the belt, we'll get to that for a moment. We'll get that to a moment. But when I think about this belt, I think about this one man right here. Like, that belt was literally made for him.
Absolutely. Oh, for sure. There was not 110%, So the Undisputed belt, it was the last belt for the WWF era, actually. It was literally like 2 months later, they had to get the F out, lost to the Pandas, and now it's very rare to see video of the WWF belt with its branding on it. Now, I still just love that belt, and there were some great matches for it. Triple H had his, he fought for it, immediately lost to Hulk Hogan, though, because Hulkamania ran wild, obviously. But, yeah, and what ended up happening was Hulk Hogan had the belt, and then he lost to The Undertaker. Then they literally looked at the belt on Undertaker and said, look, we got to make it bigger. So that's where you basically got the bigger belt here. And if you look at the picture he's got up here, the black outline is where they added the extra size to the belt. So that's where it's made it much bigger to make it look more beefy on the Undertaker. And Undertaker ended up holding that belt until he fought Rock and Angle at Vengeance that we went to. We went to that show. So years passed. And he kept on that belt until, Rock won it. And then, of course, as we already know, Brock Lesnar won it at SummerSlam that year. And then they ended up actually doing another variation of it where they sized it slightly smaller, took off one of the side plates. It's a minor one, not nearly as much as like the small to the large one. But I will say, still, regardless, it was such a gorgeous belt, and everyone looked good with it. JBL when he was champion, he looked good with that belt. God, he looked good. Eddie Guerrero, of course, seeing Eddie Guerrero win it was just great. But still, you're absolutely right. Lesnar, hands down, was the best looking. And Angle looked great too because they had, but not nearly as like Lesnar. That's Lesnar.
Like this, for some reason, this belt, like it was just made for just big men or men who were just stocky. Like you put this belt on, let's just say you try to put this belt on like a Seth Rollins now, it'll look kind of weird.
It would look weird.
Like because even back then with Eddie Guerrero, if you would have put this on WCW Eddie Guerrero, it would have looked weird. But you put it on, Viva La Raza Eddie, when his body, when his body got bigger, it ended up working itself out. But yeah, it was just like every time I see this belt, I think about Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he made it look so good when he was champion, and everyone looked good. Everyone just looked so good with that belt, and it was just and that's why I had to get two. And I'll never forget, I got that the original replica I got at a show that was at SmackDown. It was a Halloween edition of SmackDown, and it was the episode where Big Show picked up and threw Rey Mysterio into the audience. Like he just picked him up, and I was literally like 5 people away from where he threw him. It was very cool. It was a very cool show, and I bought that because I said, you know what? By the way, those are when the replica belts at the shows were like $200, $250 maybe, not the astronomical prices they are now, but.
Yeah, the new belt I think is going for $500 right now. The World Heavyweight belt.
Yep.
Shop. Yeah, 500.
I know, right? And that's a pre-order that they want the money up front now, and it doesn't ship till October. So sorry, I can't do that. But no, I'm a fan of the undisputed belt. I still need to get I want to get the whole collection of them. I got the big, got the small. I need the kids version. And then I want the mini version. So I can have a whole undisputed collection. So, but and I don't mind them being used. I'm not someone that they have to be perfect condition. No, it's for fun. And I will say something though. We can kind of segue into this, because what we'll do, Sauce, is going into the other belts for WWF Lineage. Instead of going in order, I want to segue and we'll kind of go back and forth. Okay. So what I mean by that is, since this belt, and Christopher already kind of brought up the spinner belt, and this was the
bring it back up.
Spinner belt. John Cena being the last holder of the undisputed title, and then we move into the spinner belt. As I bring it back up,
where did I put that image at? I'll find it in a minute.
It's fine. So the spinner belt. There's so much to say. I will say this: John Cena, when he won this title from JBL, right? He would have looked weird if he had kept the belt. It would have looked fine, but it would have looked still odd. So I get the idea that they wanted to change to something new belt, but man, I did not expect that. I did not expect the drastic change that was the spinner belt. I'm not going to lie. I will say this, though. John Cena, he made it look good. He made it look good, and people wanted that belt. I remember I bought a toy version of it just for shits and giggles. I thought it was like, oh, okay, I said to myself, I don't want to buy one because it's so expensive. I'll try to make one. There you go. It's crazy throughout the years. There you go. It's a nice picture right there. So it's crazy to think about this with you see this belt and immediately you're like, oh, overworked design, all this stuff. And it's like, you know what? It sold so well. They kept it for like until 2013, right? It was insane. It was insane how long they kept it. And I know all the reports were saying that it sold so well, they can't change the belt because it's my money. I'm like, yeah, those are probably all accurate.
Yeah.
And my only concern was this is that when other people were champions, it might not look good. Thankfully, it looked good on some people, but it did look like trash on others. So my personal
it was very, very like the site, like it was very, very, very like it was like a big contrast on as far as who was wearing it, who wasn't.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing Triple H, which is funny because the picture you have up there has got this Triple H nameplate. Triple H looked bizarre with this belt. I mean, he looked like it was a toy belt to him. It was like, what is he wearing right now? Get this off of him. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Batista, I was like the same thing. But no. I'm not a fan at all. I was like, get this off of him. Randy Orton, I think he was like to me, I think it looked better on Randy Orton.
He made it work.
He made it work. Now, Edge definitely made it work for sure. I think Edge, and also doing the Rated R Superstar plate on it, they realized that they could kind of make them unique that way, without changing the entire belt. So, and then of course the Miz when he was champion, he definitely made it work. It's just I don't know. CM Punk, Mr. Phil Brooks, of course. You got to put him in there, of course. He probably hated it. I mean, he probably hated it so much.
He probably every week that he had it, he probably whined. He probably whined and complained like, "Can I just have my own?" Stone Cold did it. Why can't I do it?
Stone Cold did it. Stone Cold did it.
I think just piggybacking off what you said about Batista. I think the thing with Batista was because when he first got his championship, he won the big gold, and the big gold just looked perfect on him.
It does. Yep.
It just looked like it was just seamless. So when he had this belt, it just looked weird.
It really did. It was and then you had like the short reigns of like what Jeff Hardy had it, Rey Mysterio had it, and Jeff Hardy, like it's hard to even count those because of how short their reigns were. But Jeff Hardy, it made more sense, obviously. Rey Mysterio, to me, it was what he was champion. So I kind of look at it like Del Rio had it, Sheamus had it. Sheamus to this day, I still think was a mess up. They screwed up and they just went with it because the way he won that tables match,
Cena fell off,
and he just fell off, and it's like I won.
I know everybody just kind of stopped and was like, "Oh wait, what?" I remember watching it at Bailey's in Dearborn. We all just sitting there, just like, "Wait, what just happened?" John Cena lost. Let's go.
Well, he lost to a guy who was just for a year. He was only there for less than a year. And it's not unheard of course, obviously, Randy Orton to Brock Lesnar's, but it was Cena in Super Cena mode and losing in a random tables match. So, I don't know. So I can't even count him, though, because it was so short-lived,
And another person, like I'm gonna piggyback off of, was Alberto Del Rio. It just, for some reason that belt just maybe because of his character and how he was, because basically Del Rio really was just he was basically just a Spanish JBL, and it just looked weird on him.
I like that analogy. I really do like that analogy. That's a very good one right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
So, but because you notice how Del Rio looked so much better when he had the world heavyweight title.
Yep. Oh
Like
yeah.
it just like with the world heavyweight title, it just said class.
Yep.
So when you had this play on him, it just looked weird. It was like, okay, well, at least John Cena's not champion, so let's just go with it.
Yeah. So I will say though, just kind of looking back at it, made some money for him, and people that weren't wrestling fans, you see it in shows and TV shows and movies and stuff. They have that belt, that toy belt, or that replica belt is what you see in non-wrestling fans. So that kind of expanded that reach into the non-wrestling fans. So that was able to do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Still not my favorite, but it did something for wrestling because of how long it was around for. So
And one last thing is, because John Cena was when he was like thugging out his hip hop character, and this belt definitely has hip hop written all over it, especially 2000s hip hop.
oh
Dog,
yeah,
how wild, how exotic about it. Like when I look at this belt right now, you know what I think about?
well God.
The only thing I think about is one of the most biggest name brands in 2000s was Lugs.
Lugs, and they were a big sponsor for WWE, WWF.
Oh yeah,
They absolutely were.
And that's all I can think about right now when I look at this belt. All I think about is one pair of Lugs.
Wait, I'll get one of those logos. Hold on, it's like
like a JoJo's Bizarre character. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, oh God, I gotta do. I got now since we've already talked a little bit about the belts looking better on other people. I say we have to go into the big gold. Well, the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. So I can bring my belt back here because I was very proud of making this guy. I do actually have a replica right there, original WCW one. So I'm a fan of that, but I wanted some meat on it. I wanted a good heavy belt. And again, I'm a fan. I know Papa Mafia is a fan for sure.
Oh yeah. I know he got a big grin on his face right now.
Oh yeah. But obviously when the big goal was announced, and I'm just going to refer to it, World Heavyweight Title, big gold. That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And given Triple H, people were immediately pissed off about that. They just gave it to him. He did have to have a match that night, though. He actually had to fight a match that night, and then, of course, he won. But, yep. And what's funny about the picture you have here, this picture is actually of the company that I have another replica belt called Fandu. Not a sponsor, but they do make pretty good replica belts, and that's what that actually is. And it's basically a real belt, though, because they're heavy belts, got good weight to them. They're worth it. Again, Papa Mafia knows his is that brand. So, but when Triple H presented the belt, and then everyone kind of was like, okay. Until you started seeing his matches, and of course we have to, the elephant in the room, the Reign of Terror. Now, I'm all about one thing: bringing legitimacy to a belt, to a championship. And before we kind of keep moving on, we do have, looks like we have Big O here. Big O. Yeah. Of course, Big O. Always nice hearing from you. And then we got another one. I can rock with a new one, so I like it. All right. So when Triple H was Reign of Terror, when he was champion, already held the belt. Well, we'll say, it was a little bit after that. He became champion, and then he loses the belt to the returning Shawn Michaels at Elimination Chamber. Just to lose it in the 3 Stages of Hell match at Armageddon, which, by the way, that needs to come back. I don't care how, but that needs to come back. I'm sick of Hell in a Cell. Forgive me 3 Stages of Hell.
Yeah.
Right there. Let's just, hey.
Papa H, and here's how you do it. Well, we know the old fart is telling you what to do, but if I'm gonna do 3 stages of hell, you know who my two participants is gonna be. I got Bobby Lashley, Daddy Lashley, and I got Gunther. Let's go.
All right, I'm all about it.
Like I say, if we gonna have 3 stages of hell, I want to see big sweaty meat slapping meats the whole time.
I'm all about it, Sauce. I'm all about it. So after Triple H wins that belt, though, then you, in a sense, have where he's champion. He's champion. Goldberg then comes in that year. So then Goldberg has to win the belt or whatever. And that wasn't terrible. Benoit wins it. The Canada man, Benoit, he wins it. Randy Orton wins it, right? The Randy Orton thing was still annoying to me, even to this day. He was too young. They wanted him to win because he would have been the youngest champion. Lesnar was the youngest, so they had to make someone else the younger. For some reason, they felt
Lesnar was no longer there.
Oh, you're right. You're right. He had left. Thank you. I forgot that it was right at that time when he had left. Okay. So it was very annoying because he didn't. Randy Orton's great, but not as really a face. Well, not as like a true face. When he, like now when they like him, that's different than he was all like, I'm happy face, and they won. I was like, why? Why? That was weird. It was such a. I don't know. Not a fan. Triple H takes the belt back, and then of course he brought legitimacy to it. There was how many pay-per-views was the world title the main event? How many WrestleManias did the world title make the main event? During its tenure. Yeah, Batista, as you mentioned, fantastic. He looked fantastic with this belt. Triple H looked great. Edge,
Undertaker
looked great. Undertaker looked pretty good too. I will give you that. Undertaker looked good. I thought it wouldn't, but he did look good. Yeah.
Listen. Let me tell you, when he was walking down the aisle, he get on the steps, and he moves his duster coat, and then you see that big goal around his waist. Come on now.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, there was so many cool, iconic times, and that's when the belt still had prestige. And then, of course, as everyone knows, the belts slowly, and then quickly started losing that prestige. And, well, that's their own thing. Like, you mentioned Del Rio. When Del Rio was champion, he looked good. And he was part of, arguably, one of the best cash-ins of all time with Dolph Ziggler. When Dolph Ziggler cashed in on him after WrestleMania. Yep. And it would have been great for Ziggler if he didn't get hurt. And didn't have to, And then, he won it again, but at that point, it was already kind of a moot point. Like, they were giving the belt to, when Jericho won it. It was cool. But it was kind of like, okay. Then it was like when you give people like Jack Swagger the belt. Now I have a problem. Now it's like Jack Swagger wins Money in the Bank, so, he's got to win the world title. And nobody cares. Nobody cares if Jack Swagger wins. Nobody cares if the Great Khali wins.
Nope.
You give the belt to Rey Mysterio just to have him lose to every single giant week after week after week after week. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. 9-title match, Big Show, done. Khali, done. Kane, done. I was like, what are you doing? What's the point of this? So it was just frustrating to see a once prestigious belt just get dogged down so bad, And then when mentioned earlier, John Cena, he won the world title. Most people don't even remember he won the world title, the big gold, because
he beat Jericho at Survivor Series 2008, I think.
Yeah,
and John Cena was on TV for like a couple months.
Most people don't remember it because it was so forgettable that he even had this championship. And what's crazy about it too is this: there were some great feuds in the dark era of the world title. Christian, Randy Orton, great feuds that a lot of people don't even remember. Great feuds right there, where Christian became champion. He should have held the belt longer, but at least he had this chance there to get it. let's see. Yeah, even like Jeff Hardy did win it there too because they were really high on Jeff Hardy. No pun intended, honestly. That actually, you know what? Pun intended. Sorry. Actually, what am I talking about? I'm always full of puns. What are you talking about?
Can I give you
Go ahead.
2 pointers on this belt? So
Absolutely.
look, I said, the brand split was a good thing because we got guys that eventually became champion or whatnot. Otherwise they would would never became champion, or B, it would have took the even longer. And I would say when I'm looking at this, when I'm looking at the Big Goal 2.0, the first person that really pops in my head, well, the person who currently pops in my head right now who really brought, I mean, Prestige was lost for a minute. I would say the person who definitely brought back this prestige for it was Edge.
Yep.
Because when you talk about feuds, Edge versus Taker, I mean, for the World Heavyweight title, their feud, I mean, come on.
Oh
And
yeah,
then,
that was a great feud.
and then also with the same belt, you had Batista versus Taker when they was tearing the house down in 2007. Every venue they went to, they was tearing the house down for that belt.
Yeah.
But I think one of the other one of the other guys that forget about. We talk about how when he won the WWF title, he only kept it for like a day. But when he won this belt, which is Kane, when Kane won the big one, won this belt, he actually had some pretty good runs. Like he I would say he's what, a 2-3 time World Heavyweight Champion. His reigns lasted about what, 3-5 months or whatnot. So he actually had decent reigns with this belt. So, but I would say I think like you said, the biggest issue with this belt is just the inconsistency with the prestige.
Yeah, and that was just what's so disappointing. It's disappointing when you see like again going back like they gave it about the Great Khali, or they gave it to Jack Swagger, who didn't. Like what? Why? Why would you give it to Swagger?
You know, I will say with Jack Swagger, yeah, the first run, trash. Like, yeah. And I guess because he was still riding kind of high from DCW. I feel like if they would have gave this to We the People, Jack Swagger, it would have been totally different.
Absolutely.
Because he had he had a Dirty Dutchman as his mouthpiece, so he really wouldn't have to do much. He just wrestle or whatnot, and this would have been like if he would have went over, if he would have went over on Del Rio, and I forgot which WrestleMania that was. It might have been 26, I think. But if he gone over there, this way his run would have been a lot different as far as with
Oh, I agree with
no,
that for sure. Oh no, I agree with for sure. And you know what? Another one I just remembered off the top of my head. What Mark Henry? Mark Henry winning that belt. That was a huge thing for his career. Someone never was able to win the big title, and he was able to win that. And it was a big milestone for him. And and I was a fan of it because if I remember correctly, he fought Angle, right? It was
Angle. Orton.
Orton. Okay, you're right. It
was Orton at it was at Night of Champions.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, I'm saying. Yep, that's absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
So you go.
But when he won the belt, again, personal milestone. It was great for him. It's just like we said, like certain people had the belt. Orton looked really good with it later. His first run, of course, was just he's a baby. They wanted him to have the belt and make that history, rewrite the history there.
Yeah.
And but overall, I was happy to see the Big Gold be brought back. That soon after the WCW buyout, and it was cool. It was pretty cool to see that. And what's kind of funny too is only three wrestlers. Yes, three wrestlers have held the Big Gold as the WCW title and as the World Heavyweight title, and that's Booker T, Chris Jericho, and Kurt Angle. Randomly, Kurt Angle won the WCW title before it merged into it. So
Yeah.
I still thought that was weird. I remember when that happened. I was like, okay, that's weird, but okay. And before we move on from the World Heavyweight title, we do have Christopher with the Hall of Pain. Yep. Such a great gimmick change. If he could have just stayed healthy, if Mark Henry could have stayed healthy, I don't know what would have changed,
Right. Yeah, I
Big
think,
gold.
because his body, being that big and just putting your body through, so much in that ring. Yeah.
Big Gold, we're going to put you away for a little bit, okay? It's okay. It's okay. No, you want to stay here? No, you got to go play. All right. So I figured we'll still with this one now because I know a lot of people talk about it. I know my buddy Andy Dumpster, he definitely loves this belt probably the most out of anything, and most people do. Most people do. But we have to talk about Winged Eagle. WWF Winged Eagle title. And before you go into it, we do have another chat here. Let me see what we got. There we go. So we have Big O. I was hooked on WCW Big Gold when The Rock won it in the early 2000s. So it was easy to love the Big Gold when they brought it back. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. It's kind of cool. Yeah, he had won that when he beat Booker T for it in a match. And it was just, again, it was so random.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, right. And wasn't Shane McMahon in that match too? It was a weird 2-on-1 match or something.
So yeah, he was involved because he was Booker's manager, and then the next pay-per-view they did like a handicap match for the belt.
Gotcha. That's what it was. But it was just so weird seeing The Rock with the WCW title on WWF TV. It was very weird, but it was still very cool. But I definitely remember that. But now obviously just another, like I said, throughout my collection, another replica belt of the WWF Winged Eagle. There we go, beautiful. It's like here's the replica, here's a real version of the belt. So, but I'll tell you something. This belt, anybody that ever complained about being too small, nowadays I go back and just point out about how small this belt looked. Right, this belt this is like the actual size of the belt, and compared to other belts, this is small. So why people never complain about a small belt now when they never complain about the Winged Eagle? Because I don't know. What's your opinion, Sauce, on that? It's like I don't have an answer. Why people? But it's a nostalgia factor. Maybe.
Wrestling fans are gonna be who they are. But I will say, with this belt, I look at it now, and don't get me wrong, it's a good looking belt, but the problem is you got the Big Eagle. So when you see the Big Eagle, do you look at this? This looks like a Family Dollar version of, this to me, this looks like a Family Dollar belt versus the Big Eagle.
Oh, shots fired. Sauce, shots fired here.
And granted, the Big Eagle was just a improvement of this one, but here's the thing: if the Big Eagle would have never existed, then yeah, this belt would have been still cool. But because the Big Eagle happened, it's just every time I look at this belt now, it just looks like a Family Dollar toy. Now I will say that when I see this belt, now granted, there's been a lot of heavyweights, there's been a lot of men that there's a lot of prestigious men that won this. But when I see this belt, the first person I think about is Bret Hart.
What's funny is I'll let you continue, but the first person I think about is Shawn Michaels. So then we look like, oh, here we go. I mean, and that's so you can go on though. You were talking with Bret Hart though.
No. That was pretty much it on my end. Like as far as this belt goes, when I see even now, like when I see this belt, the first thing I think of is Bret Hart.
Yeah. And that makes sense. And what's funny to think about like this? Like, look at the wrestlers we're talking about just now: Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, even Austin when he had it, and he was like, I'd say smaller, but he's still a taller guy. Like you're talking about like more smaller guys compared to your big guys with this championship. So it's like, it's going to look good on them, and if they have the bigger belts, are going to look bigger. And then even wrestlers like Yokozuna, Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, when they had this championship too, it's like I think that's another reason why it's that the nostalgia that
Yeah.
look at the most iconic people had this belt. Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior. They had this belt, this version of this championship belt. So it's like it must be great. We can't say anything bad about it ever. Never, ever. So it's still a great belt. It's still a nice looking belt, but you're right. I prefer the Big Eagle better than the Winged Eagle.
Do me a favor, Doc. Hold up the Big Eagle real quick.
Oh, I don't actually have the Big Eagle here. I actually.
It's in the living room. My bad.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. It's the only one I did.
That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, like when I see this belt, like I said, because the Big Eagle happened, I look at this, I just think this is like a Family Dollar belt.
Yeah. I mean, and again, you're not wrong, especially if you have those two next to each other. Someone would say maybe this was like the mid card title compared to the world champion.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm with you on that for sure. But it's kind of cool because right now my friend Andy, he actually he bought a replica version of this down in Florida, where he actually met Hulk Hogan at his the beach shop he owns down there in Clearwater. And it was funny because we were talking about it, because he knows I collect the belts. He said, you know what, I'm going to get this. Then I gave him the idea of trying to get it signed by every living champion that's held that belt. Because one of my pet peeves, honestly, when I see people in the fandom getting belts autographed at like shows, it's always a belt that they never had. Like, I'm sorry, I have my Big Eagle, and it's signed by Austin, signed by Jericho, and it's signed by Angle. I will try to get it signed by some people. I'll never get The Rock to sign it. I'll never, Undertaker will be very expensive, and I can, so on and so forth. Big Show, I'm pretty sure I can get Big Show. I'll try to get that one. But for Andy, he actually just met Sergeant Slaughter this past weekend, and he's going to be meeting Ric Flair, I believe, next month. So he's already in the process of getting it signed by all these different wrestlers that held this belt.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think that's a really cool thing to have done. But like I said, there's a nice little story about when it comes to the Winged Eagle, but still, it's a classic belt. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's a really nice looking belt too, a very unique style, especially for the time. But still, Big Eagle, man, undisputed title. Those are still my favorite. Those are still my favorite over this. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, the belt's been definitely a part of some iconic moments as far as, in WWE. And I'm not gonna take that away from it, but like I said, the Gold Eagle, Big Eagle would have never happened, then we'd be talking a whole different story.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. So again, have so many people, so many classic wrestlers. Oh boy, here we go.
I will say though, one thing about the Big Eagle did bring us the hardcore belt. So shout out to the Winged Eagle.
Let's see. Hold on a second. Let's see. Do I have? Oh, okay. So we got my hardcore belt that I made right here, because I said, you know what? Let's make a hardcore. But I had made one before, and then it was someone else had taken it. We're not going to get into that now. But I said, you know what? I'm going to make a hardcore belt myself. I literally made this in, I don't know, 6 hours, 8 hours. I made this because when I had my cosplay as Mankind, I said, I need to have a hardcore belt with me. And my wife's like, you can't get that done in time. I said, okay, challenge accepted. So guess what? It got done, and it was ready for Halloween. So I don't know. Like I said, it's fun. It's fun. You're absolutely right, man. Come on. Without
hold on. Let's do this. Oops.
Come on. And like I said, it's just cardboard, and some blood, sweat, and tears. But yeah, so it's fun.
Oh, actually, real quick, Doc. Real quick. While
All right.
Oh, my bad,
All
King.
right.
For the next if you want to, for the next couple minutes, when I put you full screen, it gives you a moment to show off those belts and show off a little bit of quality. So I'll give you a couple minutes.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Well, like I said, there's plenty of these different belts I've went throughout all the years and whatnot. And whether it's big gold. Again, this is the one I made. Cardboard, everything like this. Cardboard. I didn't buy the snaps. But I just say they're too expensive. I do have some replica belts throughout the years, but I'd rather, if I can make something, I'll try to do it. I will try to do it. And then, of course, I like to make, let's see, as I threw this on the floor earlier, our big logo belt. I said, you know what? I'm not spending the crazy amounts of money for it. Very cool story. When I got married, that back in this past November, they had a photo booth. I said, for sure, we're bringing the belts, my belts with us. And all the pictures of these people at my wedding, at our wedding, all of these people that had the belts in their pictures, people that never watched wrestling, people that didn't even know what's going on. It was glorious. It was the best thing to see. It really was. So, again, some of the cool stuff right here. But then, of course, I like to make, when it comes to belts, I like to make my own unique style belts. And, of course, we've mentioned numerous times on the show, we have our kind of our championship for our pay-per-views, for our shows. So, of course, we have the Tapeo Fountain World Championship. And, yes, there's a whole story about it, which we'll go into another day. This right here. First place for points at any show that has us here. And, of course, we have our last place one, which is now fun, in the Shockmaster Championship, which I'm not going to lie, if anybody knows anything about Shockmaster, this is more funny than it should be, and I'm all about it. It's a good time. But, yeah, I know. I think throughout all the years and different belts have come out, with Hogan, there was like several belts or anything like that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that. And Sauce is back. Sauce.
Listen, I just want the wrestling world to know how amazing you are with cardboard. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. I was showing a little bit of it. Now on your, so because there's a lot of different subcategories of belts, but the one now on your list, Sauce, do you have on there Hogan's belts that he had? The big green, the 86 Hogan.
I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah, because so basically, look, Hogan's first reign as WWF champion was obviously when he beat the Iron Sheik, and we kind of mentioned it last week actually. And he had won what's known as the Big Green title, which again, it's a very unique title that was then retired after that. But yeah, and there you go, Sauce. Good job, Sauce. The Big Green, which is obviously for that reason the Big Green. This is what we would say is made by not a real belt maker. I say saying that, not a belt maker, but by like a trophy maker. Like in a sense, the plates are what you would see like on a trophy, as opposed to like a real belt. Because in that sense, belts weren't really made; they were made to be more like, you've got the old style, like real thin strap, real thin plates, stuff like that. And the middle plate is very reminiscent of what you see in boxing. Boxing usually have a real circular plate, something like that. And what was cool about this belt, though, I will say, is that every plate had like the specific person that won and when their championship reign was. So that was really, I love that. I thought they stayed on there. It wasn't like you took them off; they stayed on the belt. But Hogan won this from the Iron Sheik, and then immediately retired it. Like they retired it, and then he ended up having like, you asked certain people, he had like 3 or 4 different belts before it ended up going to the Winged Eagle, and it was interesting because There is one belt, and I wish I had it on my thing here. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to get it pulled up here, but there was one belt he had where it had his picture in the middle of it, and it was that's kind of an NWA thing where NWA wrestling used to have that time where they put the person's picture, but it was scrapped, wasn't really used. Then of course there was like an '86 belt, which was very nice, sleek looking belt, and then Andre the Giant, when he wins the championship, he got his own title. Well, I say his own, but it was a title at that time for him. Nice looking belt, but and then of course it kind of goes into it, moves into what we all know as Winged Eagle and so forth. But again, as I mentioned earlier, when Sauce was off for a second, you can't really beat. Oh, there you go. Yep, there it is. So yeah, this is another one where Hulk Hogan had this belt and looked good. It's a little generic, but it's nice because all the belts were similar to that. It was all about the international flags. NWA would have those. It was kind of like similar to that. You had a globe. You had it was very clean looking belts. Very clean looking belt. And then of course that all changed. That changed, of course, but that's just the nature of it, though. That's the nature of when the wrestling belts when they change, whether it's for good, for bad. But yeah, this all kind of went into it. To me, these belts right here are nice on their own, but to me, I'm not for a collection. I might want like the green as opposed to like this '86 one. Yeah, and like look at it when you get older and older. Look at these old championships. It's insane. It's basically welding pieces of metal together and basically just attaching them to these belts. It's insane. And that's why I mentioned trophy makers. Trophy makers would make some belts or parts onto the belts because they needed to fix something or cover it up. And yeah, what's kind of cool too is NWA actually went back to their North American title, I believe it's called, and they went to an old school style similar to this, where it's the North America strap, basically leather. It's not really cut out, it's not cut out like around the shapes or anything. And I think it's kind of cool. So yeah, definitely a fan of that. But again, when it comes to prestige, though, Sauce, prestige, you can't obviously prestige right here.
Hey, listen. I brought so much prestige to that belt. Listen. You have the most. I say you have the most championships, but I still have the longest reign.
You do. I have as a 12-time champion. 12-time champion. 12-time champion. It's nice. It's nice, to be recognized as the winningest champion. It really is. Now, Sauce, you are the longest reigning champion for a championship, and you now, I believe, are at four reigns. I believe I'd have to look at 4. I believe you're at, so you're getting there. So we are the dynamic duo right here.
Hey,
so, right there. But so yeah, that's now. I will say after moving the belts, we definitely have to kind of move into. I'm not even going to kind of bring up the one you showed earlier, the scratch logo, the Rock. I'm not even going to bring that one up because it was the Rock, Cena, or not. I'm not really going to bring that one, and then of course Lesnar at the end. But we do have to. The other elephant in the room, the one I threw him earlier. Now he's back up. The network logo, as I like to refer to it, because that's when they changed over to the WWE Network. I mean, what is there to say about it? I mean, at this point, we're so ingrained in this championship. It's like I'm like the Universal title here, my red version I made after Kevin Owens won. I made a it just so I could have a world title, and I didn't want to spend the money on it. Sorry, that's what it is. But it does give, it's a beefy belt, right? At least it's got a size to it, and certain wrestlers looked great with it. And there were variations of it. But right now, for this belt, who is the best looking, the one that looked the best with the belt?
I don't know, because there's been a lot going on with this belt, with that belt. So I will say with the Universal Championship. Can I give you that one first? Can I throw that one in there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I would say the Universal Championship right now. I'm gonna say Roman Reigns. Like when I see Universal belt, which you still haven't made a blue one, but I forgive you, Doc. But but when it comes to the modern WWE Championship, I don't know, because that belt has gone through a lot. I mean, you've had people like Brock Lesnar who won it, and then you just didn't see him for like 6 months. Then you got a very underrated, and yes, I'm gonna say it. You get a very underrated reign with I say with the modern day Maharaja. You had then of course, Orton had it for a minute. Cena had it for like 5 seconds. I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to the modern day belt, I would say the person that really jumps out at me right now, unfortunately, and I hate to give him credit, but it's probably Brock Lesnar. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Because
that makes sense. I mean, it does. It makes sense. I mean, we don't want to admit it, but it does.
like he won it, and then you barely saw him on television or whatnot, and it was just like it was just it sucked. But I will say, I guess an honorable mention. The only other person I can think about that comes to my head when I see that belt, and only because they had it on SmackDown, and it's odd enough to say this, would probably honorable mention would be AJ Styles.
I thought he looked great with it. I
Yeah.
think you're missing one for sure. At least me, for sure, I would know. Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby
Yeah.
Lashley looked great with the belt.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish his reign would have just been longer, but I think he looked menacing. He looked right with it. You know what I'm saying? He looked really good with the belt.
Yeah.
But you aren't wrong about Lesnar. We don't like the fact that he was part timer, was hijacking the belt, but he still made the belt look good. He came out there. He like it's funny like because look at Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had the belt, and I love the cash in. Cash in WrestleMania is amazing, but he still to me just didn't look like a champion. Like he was great at the chicken shit champion, chicken shit heel champion. Yeah. It worked, and I'm fine with you being champion, but the belt still just didn't look right on him. That's why I really think the new belt he wins will look better on him than the logo belt here. But
the new belt's so gaudy. The new belt is gonna be as gaudy as hell, but I'm here for it.
Oh, you know what? He's gonna win it. He's gonna have all gold outfit. Gold.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. If anybody is Pokemon fans, he's gonna look like Goldingo. It's gonna be great.
He's gonna look exactly like Goldingo. Oh god.
But I would say when it comes to that belt, now, yeah, I would say Brock Lesnar is the main person I think about. But I would say as far as those individuals who's held that one, yeah, you got to go with Brock. Pretty much everybody from the Shield has won it. Almost everybody from the New Day has won it. Daniel Bryan, when he came out with it, we became the hemp champion. Let me think. I want to say Daniel Bryan might have been one of the only few who actually did a custom version of that belt.
Yeah, that was used on TV. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I know every generation, of WWE decided to redesign. There's always a wrestler, somebody who does like their own spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
And because you go back to the Wing Eagle. I mean, I'm sorry, the Big Gold. Austin did his version. You go to the Undisputed Belt didn't really have a modification. But then you go to the spinner. Then you have Miz and
Yeah.
Edge do their own versions, and then we get to this belt. Yeah, the only alternate one we've had was Dan Bryan. So
Yep. Which worked so well for his character. I mean, it was perfect
yeah,
for his character. So I was a huge fan of that. And but yeah, so I agree. I pretty much agree with everything what you were saying on the wrestlers. I still like Lashley looked good with it. So just like I said, moving forward with it, I think with the new belt, I think we already kind of mentioned who we think is going to look good with it, who has a chance for it, and I just hope we have some good matches, some good booking. That's all I care about, honestly. Now,
prestige. That's
prestige
what's
about the prestige. Let's go.
yeah, that's prestige. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
Like I
but
don't want to see the, I don't want to see this belt on I don't know I don't want to see this belt on I don't want to see that new belt on Reggie or
I'll
Skits or Flips or
script.
whatever he calls himself now. Yeah. I don't want
Flop
to see that
dollar?
belt on him.
Wait, flop dollar? You want the belt on flop dollar? What?
Listen, I'll stop watching WWE programming. Put that belt on him.
Pretty sure
It's gonna be a
Michael.
very different pod. It's gonna be a very different podcast.
How funny. But oh, that's fun. But yeah, we had a good talk today about our wrestling belts and stuff. And later in the year, we're actually going to be having a special guest. I can't really mention them now until we get everything locked down. But someone that actually designs wrestling belts and has designed belts for AEW and for minor leagues like MLW and many more. So we're going to have an interview with this person later this year, and we're kind of talk a little bit more about belts and this and some a little bit more there. But since this new belt was announced, I figured we'd have a nice little chat with you guys because next week we will definitely have our pre-show for WWE not WrestleMania Backlash. So, but as for our endings, we like to do, you have to do our heat of the week, and I'm just gonna say mine right now because of his promo he had yesterday, and the fact that he's gonna wrestle at Backlash is I gotta give the Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny.
Hey, let's go.
He went from just hosting, the show in Puerto Rico, first time, in years, and he's out with a face Damian Priest, which is a nice throw idea that he was tag team with Priest in his first match, and now you're going to face him in a solo match. And Bad Bunny, you're going to see a Bunny Destroyer. Bunny Destroyer's happening.
Hey, let's go.
So Sauce is going to be all about that for sure.
Love me some destroyers.
But who do you got for the heat of the week?
I'll be honest with you, mine's gonna be very, very simple. My heat of the week is whoever the gentleman is who created this beautiful, magnificent belt that he graced us with. We don't deserve this new belt, but he blessed us with it.
We're
And
not worthy. We're not worthy.
so to the gentleman who created this, I call it the World Heavyweight 3.0. Shout out to you. And listen, you out here doing the Lord's work, okay? Just remember that.
Absolutely. And before we go, I do want to make a quick announcement. Something's leaving the Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast family, and tonight is the last night for this thing. It's this computer, my computer. I'm actually getting a new computer. Well, it's a newer computer, and it's coming in tomorrow. My brother's helping me hook it up. It's gonna be nice, new setup, probably new microphone. It's gonna look a little different. I'm probably gonna be like this, like with we'll see. But I wanted to do it really quick, just because it's funny. 10-bell salute, real quick. So. There we go. So it's done its job. But now I'm upgrading to something better. And with that all being said, Sauce had a great show as always, man. And We're gonna let you. Thank you guys for sure. Always chatting with us, talking about giving us whether it's yams or just talking about wrestling or bring up the belts. But we can't. We you know what? We could do this without people, but why would we want to? We like talking to people, and we like talking to you guys about wrestling. So
Shout out to y'all.
absolutely. But with that note, I'm Dr. Lowe, Sauce Bronson, and we're gonna catch you next week.
Hey, most importantly, listen, for all the NFL, for all the football guys out there, enjoy that draft. May I hope y'all team have it figured out. I pray to God mines do. But on that note, at the end of the day, I say y'all be happy, y'all be healthy, but most importantly, be good.